more common. So nicotine, how does nicotine come in? So nicotine basically, it's actually a food compound. You'll find it in potatoes, you'll find it in eggplants and so forth. And how it works, it is in science, it's a cholinergic compound, which means it will bind to the nicotinamide acetylcholine receptor site, which means it's going to basically pop toxins off the cell wall. So it will help with, these NACR are found on the surface of the cells of your immune cells, your neurons, your endothelial cells, so your blood vessels, and in your lungs. So you can kind of see why there might be multiple areas where people are like on and off, not feeling right. Like, oh, they have brain fog or brain fatigue. They've got like poor circulation, blood flow. They keep getting these respiratory infections. So where nicotine comes in handy, if I can, there we go, is that it will displace the spike protein and basically take those viral fragments out and allow the receptor sites to be clean and whole again. So think of it as like if you had one of those sticky balls that had a lot of little, beads on it, and it was just saturated with dirt around it, well, it'd start pulling off the dirt off those little beads so you could see that ball again. And I'm not explaining that very well, but so you basically want to just pull that spike protein off so that the cells can communicate properly. Otherwise, you're going to have a duplication of more spike proteins. They just keep going. So you have to handle them. And then if you're around somebody who's sick, who has COVID or mRNA, vaccinated, you'll tend to pick them up again. So we have to kind of, unfortunately, keep ourselves cleaned up of them. So it'll restore natural signaling. It'll actually enhance vagal tone, vagal nerve flow, which helps reduce the systemic inflammation. So your vagal nerve goes from here all the way down to your gut. It's really cool. Now, like cold water helps tone the vagal nerve. It's not going to handle spike proteins, but it's going to help create more stability within the vagus nerve and have a better tone, which means you're going to have better blood flow, cerebral movement, spinal fluid movement, and so forth with having a really good vagal tone. Okay, next thing this is kind of cool. And I'll use this for focus as well. I use nicotine for focus, not all the time, but I'll use it in key times when it's like intense times. So it's going to stimulate the acetylcholine pathway, which basically reduces inflammation, helps pop the toxins off, and helps you kind of dive into like a nice stream of focus. And I think in here, no, I didn't put it in there. It really reduces the inflammatory response, kind of like in a nutshell. So you could use the patches. You can use like clean gums. And I don't say do not go smoke. That is not like the plan. But there are like patches you can get, clean gums you can get, and you can use those in very small doses. And that actually handles spike proteins. Dr. Artis goes into lengthy detail on the research and even like the thousands of studies that are out there on spike proteins and nicotine helping to bind to that and like that receptor site and then pop those toxins off. So you can't really go wrong. If you have an addictive personality, maybe it's better to use the patch than anything else so that you're not ending up over consuming it. You'll get a little dopamine hit. You'll get a little acetylcholine hit. So it can help with that focus, but that will also help solve some of the fatigue piece too. Okay, next. All right. So this persistent coronavirus. Okay, why is this lingering? So we are understanding again that SARS-CoV with the spike proteins are not fully cleared. Now, we get some clearance with some of those remedies I gave you. And from the nutrients to the nicotine to the diet, you'll get some clearance for sure. But what happens is these immunosuppressive response in the body is coming from, again, this persistent coronavirus or COVID. It doesn't go away. It's like Epstein-Barr. It doesn't go away. It'll come up and resurface. So Epstein-Barr will activate, cytomegalovirus will activate, and so forth. There is a very phenomenal technology that's come out. It's called the NIKKI, wearenikki.com watch. This is probably going to explode once it's available. They have these formulas that are basically targeting not your pathogen. They're targeting the cell and how it duplicates and its function and how it's supposed to respond to things. So there's a whole sequence of frequencies that are set up to help reverse this very issue, which is creating chronic fatigue for people, creating cancers for people, creating autoimmune conditions for people, and it needs to be solved. So instead of the option of over supplementing and then using this blood IV stuff or using hyperbaric, and again, not all have them been studied. So don't construe this as like, I know everything, but